Okay, here we go with Tentacles, Part 3. Now, we were obsessed with keeping the tentacles in the graboid mouth extra gross and slimy. We used several techniques, like these sprayers. They mostly just had water in them. But what we used most was this remarkable movie stuff I first showed in episode 5. It was just Ultraslime, and in fact, that's what it's called. It did the job, but it was challenging to use in a couple of ways. One, when you put it on, it didn't last very long. It would quickly flow down and disappear, so it was always the last thing we did before each shot.
Let's position him, do the slime, and then we're going to roll right away.
Two, it was ridiculously sticky and stretchy.
Until Steve says, kaput.
The team often used surgical gloves to try to minimize cleanup.
Yeah, that's perfect start to this. Yeah. Okay.
But no matter how you handled it, it would still stretch into these long strands that just would not break. You couldn't step away without dragging the stuff with you. Fortunately, the creature team had the solution. Scissors were an essential part of the slime toolkit.
Okay, stick in slime.
They were just about the only way to get rid of hanging strands of Ultraslime.
How much is left on that roll?
Especially on the roof of the mouth.
About 500 feet left.
Okay, let's just dust it. We got some drool off the middle one that's brush it, in fact. Brush right over. All right, we're coming into de-drool.
This baby pick up a little bit. Whoever's just picking up.
So, scissors were with the tentacle team at all times. But I'm going to leave slime behind now because this is a unique tentacle shot for other reasons.
Come on, start in frame, please. Let's get a rehearsal.
It's the only shot we did inside Chang's market on location. The interior of Chang's in the movie is on a soundstage.
Okay, clear it outside for rehearsal.
On location, Chang's was jammed full of the mechanics for the roof collapse. A very tight place to work in.
I will say this, maybe it was really smart for not trying to shoot through.
Here's the shot we're working on, where the graboids head for Bert's. Now we had to do it on location because we had to see the real street outside the window. Another thing that makes this video special is we have the two founders of Amalgamated Dynamics crouched on the floor there wrangling our tentacles. Future Academy Award winners Tom Woodruff and Alec Gillis.
Tom, Alec, you alright?
Yep, I'm going to come right for this.
Okay, anybody not set?
We used an explosive for that puff of dust to look like a graboid going into the street.
Okay, go hot, please.
That means arm the explosive.
When we're hot, we'll roll. Roll A and B cameras.
Roll A.
We have speed. And action on the tentacles. Moving around, moving around. Want some dust in there? Yeah.
Listen closely and you can hear the explosive go off as I call out the cues.
And suck down. 1.
This is not the take in the movie. On the first try, the explosion was so big it covered up everything else in the background.
This slime is good, basically. Unfortunately, what happened there was that first effect buried everything else.
Harry, do you have this on your
I'm afraid we
bench?
gotta go again.
I'm disappointed because I'm trying to stay on schedule and resetting an explosive takes a long time. By now, Dad knows this too.
This is the outside of the store where the tentacle shot.
So he wanders outside and starts shooting other things. He did get them digging the hole for the next blast. Don't know where he went after that, but there's no more video of the inside of Chang's. So we must move on. I can't leave the tentacle videos without sharing what Dad got of Tom Woodruff. Of course, everybody on the creature team was essential to making the monsters work. But in the videos, he's often the one in front of the camera. You may remember from an earlier episode, he's the guy we buried alive inside a graboid for our first full-scale shot. And he was willing to get uncomfortable in many other ways. But before I get to that, I have to show this perfect home movie moment Dad caught.
Daddy showing his child.
Tom showing off a tentacle for his wife and new baby. Turns out a desert weed is just as interesting as the tentacle. Now here's a fairly easy shot. Tom is partly visible on the left, and I'm pretty sure he is controlling Stumpy, the injured tentacle. But more often he was in very awkward positions, like here, getting ready for the shots where the graboid has the pickaxe in its head.
Camera, I think. Oh yeah, okay, that is, Tom, try to mark that spot, that really looks good.
And of course he always had to stay off camera.
Seen a leg, cut it off.
Seen a leg?
Well, we have to adjust for him. No, but your camera is
You're seeing this leg here?
Yes, back him up.
How about here?
Sign him up.
But oddly, he was often the most uncomfortable when we were using yet another type of tentacle we had, the hand puppet. Tom and Alec often mention that it was actually my partner Brent Maddox's idea. With all the complex mechanics they had shown us, Brent asked, "Can't we just have a simple hand puppet, just in case?" So they somewhat reluctantly added it to their pre-production build. I'm not sure this is actually the prototype, but it would be close to it. And it ended up just being perfect for certain shots. Granted, Tom had to do things like lie in the mud for this particular shot. But it could get worse. Here we're back where he was operating that stumpy tentacle. What we're shooting is the moment in the climax where the tentacles find one of Bert's bombs and pull it underground. And here the team is shoving the mechanical tentacles under a low plywood deck that they built.
Yes, you are retracting, right?
Now we got most of the action with the mechanical tentacles.
All right, quiet please, and roll cameras, light the fuse.
But with the setup we had, we could see that the critical moment where the bomb goes all the way underground just wasn't going to happen.
Action! Wow.
So it was back to Tom and the hand puppet. But to use it, he had to crawl under that platform, which was not designed for a person. As I've said before, Tom must not be claustrophobic. And once he crawled in there, he had to wait because, as we did almost every day, we went past sunset and lost our light behind the Sierras.
When we run out of light, however, they can bring in a generator
white card right here.
and make room light.
Yeah, to fill back in this corn dog space.
And with a little fake sunlight, we finally got the shot.
Okay, very quiet, and roll both cameras.
Rolling.
Not lit. Lighting it, not lit, not lit. Okay, out of there. Action. Cut.
Got it.
Well, not long after this, we left Lone Pine and headed for the sound stages. And our tentacles got moved into the real interior Chang's market.
And anybody else set? Roll in big cameras. Action. He's thrashing around and shell.
As usual, second unit was just trying to get shots that might be used after the graboids crashed to the floor.
And I think everybody's kind of died there. Shell. Cut. Did we lose a guy in foreground here?
Yeah, he turned into a linguine.
One little detail here is that we had to put up mirrors for the puppeteers. Because the cameras were seeing the whole store, they had to lay absolutely flat, so they needed the mirrors to see their tentacles. Oh, and if you haven't spotted Tom Woodruff yet, you're just not looking hard enough.
Say hi, Tom. Hello.
Now, as it turns out, this was some of the very last footage we shot, so I'm going to use it to wrap up my tentacle trilogy. But I do have a bigger finish. Before we did the tentacle work, second unit got to shoot one of the movie's bigger stunts, and here it is. See you next time.